How many stadiums across the globe can truly claim to have transformed the beautiful game? How many arenas do more than just host matches, but define eras, birth legends, and shape the very DNA of football itself? Very few. But hidden in the heart of England, far from the glamour of London or Manchester, lies a stadium with a soul. In the modest town of Wolverhampton stands a coliseum of footballing history, Molineux Stadium. More than just bricks, seats, and turf, this ground is sacred. It's a living archive of football's evolution. A place where tactics were reborn, where crowds roared not just for goals, but for greatness. Molineux didn't just witness the rise of modern football, it helped create it. Here, under the cold English skies, teams from around the world came to test themselves against the mighty Wolves. Matches weren't just games, they were spectacles, global showdowns that set the standard for future generations. And among all the roars and echoes of the past, one name rises above all: Billy Wright, a man who embodied loyalty, passion, and the very spirit of the game. The first footballer in history to earn 100 caps for his country. A one-club man, a true icon whose shadow still graces this historic ground. This is the story of a stadium that changed football forever. This is the legacy of Molineux. And it all begins right here. In this video, we're going on a journey that spans over a century of football legacy. We'll explore not only Molineux Stadium, but everything it represents. Discover the fascinating facts that surround this sacred stage of English football. Dive into the history of Wolverhampton Wanderers, the club that turned it into home, and meet the legendary players who've graced its pitch, with a special spotlight on the most iconic of them all. Get ready for a story rich in detail, blending passion, tradition, resilience, and plenty of goals. Officially opened in 1889, Molineux Stadium was one of the first stadiums in England built specifically for football. Before that, it was common for clubs to share grounds with other sports. The idea of building a dedicated football venue was revolutionary at the time. Located in Wolverhampton, in the West Midlands, the stadium quickly became a symbol of the sport's growth and professionalization in England. The name Molineux came from Benjamin Molineux, a wealthy industrialist who owned land in the area. His name was immortalized in the stadium that would become a cornerstone of football history. With a current capacity of just over 32,000, Molineux has undergone numerous renovations, including a major modernization in the 1990s to meet Premier League standards. Despite the upgrades, it has preserved its unique charm and atmosphere, a blend of tradition and intensity that continues to inspire players and fans alike. One standout fact is that Molineux was one of the first stadiums in the world to install floodlights, back in 1953. At the time, it was a true innovation. It also hosted some of the first international club friendlies outside of London, boosting its prestige and role in the footballing world. Founded in 1877 as St. Luke's FC, the club became Wolverhampton Wanderers in 1879 after merging with a local team called the Wanderers. Since then, the Wolves, as they're affectionately known, have experienced highs and lows, but always retained a fiercely loyal fanbase. Wolves were one of the founding members of the Football League in 1888, an enormous milestone in English football. But it was in the 1950s that the club enjoyed its golden era under the legendary manager Stan Cullis. During this period, Wolves won 3 First Division titles, 1953-54, 1957-58, 1958-59, and 2 FA Cups. Cullis also pioneered international floodlit friendlies at Molineux, hosting some of Europe's top clubs. These matches were pivotal in inspiring the creation of the European Cup, now known as the UEFA Champions League. Wolves became known for their aggressive, fast-paced style and relentless determination on the pitch. Even during tough times, such as their relegations in the 1980s and 1990s, the club stayed true to its roots and continued to be a proud symbol of English football. In recent years, Wolves have returned to the Premier League spotlight, thanks to investment from Chinese conglomerate Fosun International. With a modern management approach, international player recruitment, and strong leadership from managers like Nuno Espirito Santo and more recently Julen Lopetegui, the club has competed in European tournaments and challenged the Premier League elite once again. Molineux is not just a stadium. It is a theater where legends are born and remembered. Over the decades, Wolverhampton Wanderers has nurtured a pantheon of footballing greats, players whose names still echo through the stands, etched into the collective memory of generations. At the heart of this legacy stands one man above all, Billy Wright. Billy Wright, the eternal captain. When people speak of loyalty in football, they speak of Billy Wright. A one-club man in the truest sense, Wright dedicated his entire professional career to Wolverhampton Wanderers. As a central defender, he was not only the backbone of the team, but also its moral compass. Calm, composed, and dignified, Wright led Wolves during their golden era in the 1950s, helping the club secure 3 First Division titles and an FA Cup triumph. But his influence extended far beyond the black and gold of Wolves. Wright became the first footballer in history to reach 100 international caps, a record that once seemed unbreakable. He captained the England national team 90 times, a feat unmatched to this day. His impact on the game earned him a knighthood, and his sportsmanship became a model for future generations. Today, a statue of Billy Wright greets visitors at Molineux, not as a mere decoration, but as a symbol of the club's spirit, pride, resilience, and integrity. His presence still watches over every kick, every cheer, every dream. Steve Bull, the people's champion. If Billy Wright was the embodiment of leadership, Steve Bull was the heartbeat of the Terraces. Signed from West Bromwich Albion in the mid-1980s, Bull quickly became a legend in his own right. He scored an astonishing 306 goals for Wolves, making him the club's all-time leading scorer. What made Bull truly special was his decision to stay loyal to Wolves even when bigger clubs came knocking. Despite spending much of his career in the lower leagues, his incredible performances earned him a place in England's 1990 World Cup squad. For fans, he wasn't just a striker. He was one of them, living their dream with every goal he scored. Today, the Steve Bull stand at Molineux serves as a lasting tribute to the man who brought light to one of the club's darkest periods and reminded everyone what it meant to wear the Wolves shirt with pride. Derek Dougan, the charismatic visionary. Known as the Doug, Derek Dougan was not only a gifted striker, but also a transformative figure behind the scenes. He scored over 120 goals for the club, often dazzling with flair and audacity. But Dougan's legacy went further. He later took on an administrative role at Wolves and became a powerful voice in the footballing world. A fierce advocate for players' rights and innovation in the game, Dougan was instrumental in pushing for reforms that still shape the sport today. He was bold, outspoken, and deeply committed to the future of both the club and football at large. Ron Flowers, the midfield maestro. In the heart of midfield during the 1950s, Ron Flowers was the engine of the Wolves side that dominated English football. With tireless energy and tactical intelligence, he helped the club win 3 First Division titles. Flowers was also part of England's 1966 World Cup winning squad, further cementing his place in football history. His composure under pressure and quiet leadership made him a pillar of every team he played for, and he remains a revered figure in the Wolves family. Robbie Keane, a star is born. Before he dazzled audiences at Inter Milan, Tottenham Hotspur, and LA Galaxy, Robbie Keane was a bright young talent emerging from the Wolves academy. Bursting onto the scene with natural flair, dazzling dribbles, and clinical finishing, Keane gave fans a glimpse of future greatness. Although his time at Wolves was relatively short, His development at Molineux set the foundation for an international career that saw him become Ireland's all-time leading scorer and one of the most beloved players in Premier League history. Modern heroes, the new Wolves. As the club entered a new era of ambition and international prominence, fresh talents took the stage. Under managers like Nuno Espirito Santo, and in the electric atmosphere of a modernized Molineux, players like Ruben Neves, with his precise long-range strikes and calm leadership, João Moutinho, a master of control and vision in midfield, Raúl Jiménez, the Mexican striker whose bravery and goals redefined the club's identity, and Adama Traoré, one of the fastest players ever seen in the Premier League, whose explosive runs terrified defenses, all contributed to reviving the spirit of the Wolves and placing the club back on the European stage. Billy Wright, the soul of Molineux. Yet, no matter how many stars come and go, Billy Wright remains the eternal face of Wolverhampton Wanderers. His influence transcends generations. He represents an era of purity in the game. A time when players stayed for love, not contracts, when leadership meant honor, not just armbands. To speak of Molineux without mentioning Billy Wright would be to leave out its soul. His legacy isn't just carved into the stone outside the stadium. It lives on in every young fan, every roar from the South Bank, every moment the Wolves rise to defy the odds. Molineux Curiosities. What makes it unique? Molineux is far more than just another football stadium. It is a living monument to the sport's history. A place where innovation, passion, and glory have collided in moments that forever shaped the game. The first with undersoil heating, 1958. Back in the 1950s, English football faced an unrelenting opponent. Winter. Frozen pitches and match cancellations were all too common. But in 1958, Molineux made history by becoming the first stadium in England to install undersoil heating. It was a groundbreaking move. While other stadiums were forced into silence by icy conditions, Molineux pressed on, ensuring the game would go on, no matter the frost. It set a precedent for modern stadiums and showed the club's forward-thinking mentality. Over 61,000 fans. A record-breaking crowd. 1939. On February 11, 1939, Molineux witnessed a spectacle of unmatched fervor. In a match against Liverpool, 61,315 fans crammed into the stadium, creating a deafening wall of noise. It was a time when football was raw, unfiltered, and electric. The record still stands as the highest attendance ever recorded at Molineux, a symbol of the club's deep roots and the unshakable bond with its supporters. Stands named after legends. At Molineux, the structure itself tells a story. Each stand is a tribute to legends who gave their all for the badge. The Billy Wright stand honors one of football's most respected figures. The first player in history to reach 100 international caps, a true gentleman of the game who captained both club and country with unwavering grace and loyalty. The Steve Bull stand pays homage to a local icon, a relentless goal scorer who netted over 300 goals for the club and turned down moves to bigger teams to stay faithful to Wolves. These aren't just names etched in concrete. They are enduring echoes of greatness. 1954. The night Wolves stunned the world. One of the most defining moments in the club's history came in 1954, when Wolverhampton faced Honved of Hungary. At the time, Honved was arguably the best team in the world, featuring stars like Ferenc Puskás, pioneers of a fluid, attacking style that had dazzled Europe. But on that night, under the floodlights of Molineux, Wolves triumphed. The victory shocked the footballing world. British newspapers proclaimed that Wolverhampton were the best team on earth, and this bold declaration sparked conversations across the continent. Inspired by this match and others like it, French journalist Gabriel Hannet began to champion the idea of a continental competition, a tournament to determine the true kings of Europe. That idea became the European Cup, known today as the UEFA Champions League. In this sense, Molineux didn't just host legendary matches, it helped shape the very structure of modern football. Molineux Stadium is far more than just concrete, steel, and seats. It's a living monument to football's soul. It's the home of a club that never gave up, one that faced adversity but never lost its identity. It's a sanctuary where generations have gathered to cheer, cry, and celebrate. Above all, it's a place bursting with stories and emotion. To know Molineux is to understand a fundamental piece of world football. It shows that even away from the glare of massive cities and billion-dollar franchises, there are sacred grounds keeping the spirit of the beautiful game alive and burning bright. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of Molineux Stadium and Wolverhampton Wanderers, don't forget to give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel for more epic stories from the world of football. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and share this video with your fellow football lovers. Drop a comment below. Which historic stadium would you like to see featured next on the channel? See you next time!